Oh, good morning, and good morning. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Loren Michaels Harris. How's everybody doing? You know what? I just realized at the last second, realized I had left my backup coffee container. And so I was listening to the theme song and I could hum it in my head and know just exactly how much time I had to get back in the seat before it went live. Hey, don't laugh. When you're almost 58 years old, just a couple weeks away on the 4th of July, you look for things to balance off those senior moments. I'm not kidding. I call them junior moments. They help me balance it. Get it? So that's the Bella purpose. I am here and so excited to be here today. And what'd you do this weekend? We had rain a little bit, but it didn't stop Brian and I. We got a lot of stuff done around the house. I actually went to Michigan all day Saturday and visited my sister and my nieces and nephews and had a good time down there. She put me to work. All I did was transplant plants for her. But it was a great weekend overall. Had a nice Sunday dinner yesterday. I saw a lot of you guys. Thanks for posting. A lot of you posted what was on your plate yesterday. A lot of great meals, lots of great meals. I had baked spaghetti and peach cobbler. There were 3 people that made peach cobbler yesterday on that thread. Isn't that interesting? Friday. Oh, and another thing, we went out. That's right. Brian and I, with the relaxing of the restrictions as far as sheltering in place and whatnot, we decided to go out and see for ourselves how we felt about it. A few weeks back, we drove and just looked at outside seating to see, that doesn't look like, I don't know, that looks a bit shady, that kind of stuff. But we actually bit the bullet and went out Friday night for dinner. And it was nice. We met some people on the way when we were walking after dinner. We go to these little towns that have these, nice little cafes and a lot of nice things to see, river walks and things like that. So we were out on our after dinner walk and I ran into these 2 people right here and they were homeless. And I said, hey, your instruments are in such great shape. And, thinking, well, I didn't say it, but I was thinking, man. So anyway, she just went into song and played us a great song. And then the guy says, hey, do you have a couple bucks? And I was like, child, we from Naperville. We don't carry cash. We really don't. But I pulled out my wallet to prove I didn't have any cash, just so he didn't think I was talking crap. And there was $3 in there. It must have been from when I was at the car wash a couple weeks ago and I take money there to tip the guys so they can do my rims and stuff. So anyway, I gave them the $3 and, I've been homeless back in the day. I've been homeless. I know a lot of us in the Misfit Nation have been in that position. And I'm going to tell you, it really touched my heart. He was like, $3. Oh my God, you just fed us for the night. And the reason I'm mentioning that, I'm going to put their pictures up one more time really quickly. The reason I'm mentioning that is because, here they are out doing their thing, let's just say it. Let's put it this way, you guys. We can never forget where we've been, or we will never remember where we're going. Let's just leave it there. God bless you all. Okay. Ooh, I almost had a moment. There. Now, listen, if you guys were here Friday, we had our first Bathrobe Moments field trip. We went out to the Beehives with my good friend, Thad J. Smith. Now, he is the founder of the West Side B-Boys, and that is an organization that helps young people stay off the street and learn the art of beekeeping and all that goes with it. They make products, great thing. But you know how it is, this broadband live streaming. Thad did a great job showing us what was going on in the hives and whatnot, but it was starting to break up. Then we lost him. So I played some of his footage from YouTube, from the news, and he's back today. I felt I owed him another platform. So he's back today. He's where there's Wi-Fi. He's on a computer. There's no bees. It's not 80 degrees inside of that suit because this is what he looked like when he was with us on Friday, right? He was inside of there, and bees were swarming all around. I was itching, because that sound alone, just like when you hear a mosquito, oh, something about it. But I learned a lot, and we're going to learn more today because Thad is going to tell us all about the world of bees. Well, there you are. I saw you start. How come I don't hear you?
Oh, hold on.
There, now I do. Now I do.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It said a notification that my mic was blocked, but we're good to go now.
Oh, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir. It is a pleasure to finally be able to speak to you without the gobble.
And without the bees, I'm looking at my new lighting on here. I look like Michael Jackson, the color of my skin on here, but on
it looks good though.
It looks good on the regular thing. Okay, so I'm good. At least I'm not red. I went and got one of those big light rings. So okay.
Yeah, I got to do that too.
Yeah. So Thad, where exactly were you Friday when we were out? And now what's it called again? It starts with an A, I believe. Aviary. Now, why do I think that sounds like something to do with birds?
Because that's called an aviary.
Isn't that what you said?
No, I said apiary. There's AP and AV. There, two different.
There it is.
There you go.
An apiary. An apiary,
right.
Which the definition means
where people place their beehives. That's all. Where beehives are.
Okay, so the place where the beehives is called the apiary. Now, what is the beehive? What is the box thing called that all those slats were in?
That's just called a beehive. That particular one is called a Langstroth hive. There's several different types of hive, but this one's called a Langstroth hive. That's what I
Okay. Well, I know I had a couple questions that I was dying to ask you because when I was a kid, we would go out looking for beehives, but we'd only find wasp nests.
Right.
And didn't know the difference. And I thought that the first time I saw one of those, I found a beehive, took the wiffle bat that I had with me and knocked it down. And a couple hours later, I was still in the hospital where they were getting stingers and stuff out because they tore me up. I'm not kidding you. Eyes was all shut, lips, everything, all that. I ate a couple of them. It was horrible. Chased me until I dove in some water.
Woo!
Tore me up. I'll never forget that. So where do beehives, when they're not formally being grown, like you showed us,
right.
Where are they? How come we don't see them?
So let's talk about bees in general first.
Okay.
So there's approximately 25,000 species of bees in the world. But we only talk about one, the honeybee. And why is that? Because of this and because of money. That's the only reason why we talk about the honeybee. Because
they're a product.
Right. They're a product that somebody can exploit to make money at the end of the day.
Okay.
But we don't talk about the other 24,000 species of bees that are on the planet. I'll give you, this is an example I give everybody all the time. Illinois is the largest grower of pumpkins in the country. If you buy a pumpkin, if you buy a pumpkin in this country, it's an 80% chance it came from Illinois. Now, in order to pollinate those pumpkins, there's a bee that specifically does that, and that's called the squash bee. This squash bee pollinates nothing but squashes. That's all this bee does. So if we lost that bee here in Illinois, we would lose billions of dollars worth of agriculture. But you don't hear about that bee.
Right.
You don't hear about that particular bee. So that's what I talk about. I talk about the honeybee because I love the honeybee and I love the honey. But I talk about the honeybee for what it does, but I also talk about the other native species that were in the United States because the honeybee is a colonizer. It was brought over from Europe. There were already native bees here doing pollination for thousands of years before the honeybee got here. So one of my main things that I always talk about, we need the native bees and we need the honeybees as well. And that goes into a different conversation that I have in regards to how these times today.
Yeah.
So I consider the honeybee a colonizer, and if you watch Black Panther, you understand that term. And so the honeybees came over, and they started to take over the job for the native bee population. Let's say the colonizers came over, started to take over for the Indians that were here.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the native bee population like they're not anything, but we're looking at the colonizers that they're everything.
Okay, I can already see right now. Everybody, it's true because y'all were thinking it out there. I know it. They're like, "Girl, get in here." There's a black nerd bee guy on the screen. You really are a bee nerd. I'm not kidding. You are, because if I don't stop you, you'll have us in a lecture here for the next hour about
I'll get on my soapbox for an hour, baby boy.
I already know. That's why I got my
will get on
bell
my
ready for
soapbox.
your butt. I got my bell ready. I ain't afraid to use it. So anyway, listen, but here's some things. I know exactly where I want to go with you today. First
Okay.
of all, why don't you start by because I do find it in the black thing is very interesting because I was shocked that so many inner city kids, the ones you work with, are kids of color, were so excited about learning the art of beekeeping.
Oh, they love it.
I know. You'd think they'd
Love
be
it.
scared to death of it.
Well, because here's the thing: we as adults have built-in fears. We just do. We've seen the world, and so we know we are afraid of certain things. Children have no. I'll give you a prime example. There's the young lady at Sweetwater Foundation. She's the daughter of the founder. Her name is Armani. I think she's like 7 or 8 years old. This little girl has no fear whatsoever. None. She will pick up a bee, an ant, whatever insect, animal, no fear. I love that little girl. She's going to be actually the president of my youth beekeeping club, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
But
I'm opening a banana.
That's what I like about the kids. They have no fear. They're inquisitive. They want to learn. They want to see new things. They want to experience new things. And in the inner city, there's nothing new. Everything's new to them because they don't get a chance to see anything.
That's my point. That's why I was so shocked because I have my nonprofit thing called the Power of We Symposium, and I was talking when I was recruiting schools from Inglewood. There were a couple teachers there at one of the meetings with one of we were at in the office of what do you call it? Not a council person. What are those people that are in wards down there?
Oh, alderman.
That's where we were exactly. We were at the alderman, Tony's. We were at Tony's office, and a couple of the teachers were telling us how they had been eating they had chopped up some strawberries and brought them to work in baggies, and they were sitting there sharing them. And there were 2 little boys who were like, "What are those?"
Right.
They did not even know what strawberries were. They had never had, and these were like 6-year-old boys, they said. 6-year-old students of theirs that had never experienced fresh strawberries. And it just broke my heart. So I'm really excited that these types of all these things that we think our kids wouldn't like, they're like any other kid. If you're exposed to it, then you're going to find out about it and you might have a love for it, just like you did. So Thad, tell us how you got into this. I know that you had a stumble or a speed bump, if you will, in your life, late in life.
Right.
Which eventually led you to what you're doing today. If you could touch on that for a minute.
Sure. So, wow. This story goes back at least 10 years. I got it at least 10 years. Yeah, 2010.
Okay.
That's probably where all the journey began, so to speak, that I didn't know I was on at the time. So long story short, had a house, lost the house, and became homeless.
There was a divorce in there. Everything just went south.
Separation. Everything just went to crap. It just went to crap. So I tried to salvage some stuff. I started working at another company, tried to start my own business. So, I tried to do some things to prevent that happening, but
But what happened?
Everything just turned to crap and I just lost it all. It just became, I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, tell people what happened. You ended up getting incarcerated.
Right. So I became homeless. And then when you're homeless, you just do, you do what you got to do.
Trying to live. Trying to eat, trying to wash your butt, all that.
Whatever you got to do, you got to eat, you got to, So, long story short, man, some people came up, man, hey, you want to cash these checks? So we cashed these checks, made some money. Boom, boom, boom. Now, the dumb thing is I used all my information. So it's not like they weren't going to catch me. You know what I mean?
Right. But at the time, you're like, you know what?
Got to do what I got to do.
Maybe that'll help. Yeah. I get it.
Do what I got to do.
Right.
I mean, a couple times after making money, I got a hotel room. I enjoyed myself. I was human for a couple days.
Yeah,
that's really what it was.
You could leave the pain. I was
human. Yes,
so,
I was a human being.
So Thad, how did that experience tie in? How does that tie in now when you're working with these kids? Because now you're just doing so many things all over the place. You practically live on the news. Since you were on the news yesterday, Right.
I was very lucky. I was very lucky.
What do you think it is, Thad, that makes people so enamored with what you guys are doing?
So at the end of the day, I think farmers, because I consider myself a farmer, and farmers create life. That's what they do. They create life.
Mm-hmm.
Without a farmer, there is no life. So
Okay.
I think that aspect of being able to create life, create substance, make the world a better place, what all those things. I think that's really what draws people to it. It's for me. I can't speak, but for me, it's the learning about it. It's the calmness. It's the peacefulness. It's the you're out in nature all the time. You're by yourself a lot of times, so you're not in your thoughts. You're in the bees, so you get away from the world.
So this organization, the Westside Bee Boys, is it just boys or boys and girls?
Well, because when I first started, it was just me and my partner at the time, so it was just boys. But girls are always welcome. Always welcome. Look, in order to have a hive, you got to have a queen bee. So got to have my girls.
So listen, when you started, where did you get your first bees? Did somebody give them to you? Did you buy them? Were they already there? And when people wanted to start raising bees to produce honey and products, how do they do it? Do they have to go out in the wild and try to capture a bee, or can you order them from the bee store?
So there's 2 ways you can get 3 ways. I'll say 3 ways. You can buy a nuke, and a nucleus is just what it is. The nucleus, the center of life. And so it's like 5 frames of bees with an egg-laying queen. And that will enable you to put that in a regular hive, and that goes to 10 frames. They start to build it out. You can build honey. That's one way. You can buy a package of bees, and those are usually around March and April, because they ship half the bees in the country go to California to pollinate the almond orchards in January. And then they take those bees and they repackage those and they sell them back to the world.
Okay.
And or you can catch a swarm of bees, and that swarm has workers and a queen, and then you can put that in a box and you're ready to go. So those are the 3 ways you can capture or raise bees.
How long did it take you to really understand the process to the point of, from A all the way to what we see in front of you? And what is that we're looking at in front of you, by the way?
So I have still not even scratched the surface of how bees do what they do, and bees I haven't.
I know. However, you're going to take us through the Reader's Digest version.
Right. So when I say that, I mean bees are. I constantly learn about bees every day. So I've just scratched the surface. But this is eventually I get to this honey, and so this is 3 different types of honey. Yeah, 3 different types. These 2 are clover. I'm sorry. Yeah. These 2 are clover, and then this other one here is wildflower. So my clover is like the most prominent weed you're going to have in an urban environment. So usually late in the summer, that's what's usually blooming. Nothing but clover is usually blooming late in the summer. So this is my late harvest. My early harvest, spring harvest, like right about now, is a good time to start to harvest honey. This is what it's going to look like. It's nice and bright. Again, that all depends on your area. But because the flowers are very white, pink, yellows, very bright, they want bees to come. You're going to have a lighter nectar.
Yeah.
And during the summertime and fall, you're going to have a darker nectar. That's at the end of the day, that's what. That
looks like a lifetime supply of honey to me.
This, for some people, this might last a month.
A month?
Yeah.
What are they doing? Eating it by the spoonfuls?
So this can replace, this is their sugar. This is all they use with sugar. So you can put this you can put this in smoothies. You can cook with this. You can make a lemon water. I mean, there are 1,000 different ways you can use honey, Loren. And honey is antimicrobial, antibacterial. It helps with weight loss, high blood pressure, anxiety, digestion. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And then if you have allergies, the pollen in the honey combines with your body, and it helps to overcome the allergies that you may have.
I didn't know
that. And that's if you get local honey. Like if within 5 miles of your house, it really does help with your allergies.
Wow. So you probably do all kinds of stuff with honey that the normal person wouldn't. You use it in your dreads? to lock those dreads? You put honey on there to
I use the
lock
wax.
your...
No, I use the beeswax.
I knew it was something.
Beeswax locks these dreads up.
I knew it was something.
Yeah.
I said, he ain't like, and that's another thing. There's candles. I saw you had candles. There's all these different things. So, but talk about real quickly, because we have a lot of ground to cover, believe it or not.
Gotcha.
You were saying Friday that there's something about bees. If bees became extinct.
Oh, so I was saying that if honeybees became extinct, or if bees became extinct on this planet, we could not survive as a species. Plain and simple. Period. I mean, let me say this: there would be survival, but it would not be at the level that we are at today, and it would be Armageddon out there for the survival level which you're talking about. You're talking wheat. You're talking bread and water. That's what people would be eating. Bread and water. Because
of the interconnection with what the bees do, and because it's not just about their honey, it's about the things they make possible just through their short life. Because didn't you say the average bee lives 6 weeks?
A bee's life, I don't want to say life, I say their time clock is 6 weeks. However, some die earlier, some die later. Bees actually literally work themselves to death. From the moment they come out of their cell, they are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And their final job, so they have many jobs. So when they come out, their first job is to clean their cell so that the queen can lay another egg. Then there's several different jobs. There's a sanitation bee. There's an undertaker bee. There's a nurse bee, and those take care of the larvae. There's a guard bee, and that guards the entrance. And its final job is a forager. And just like when we send our kids out to college, that's what it is. That's the bees go out to the world, and the world is not a nice place. There's always somebody trying to hunt them to eat them. They have to go to wild places. Their wings get torn. Their hair gets torn off. They're fighting the world in order to bring back a tiny portion of nectar for the hive to survive. I mean, a bee is an incredible creature. It works its whole entire life. It's sustained the colony. So
what happens to the worker bee who is supposed to be out gathering nectar, and he out there flying around playing and stuff, and it's time to come back to the hive and he doesn't have nothing? Who deals with him when he gets back there empty snooted, or what? How do they bring it back in that needle
it's funny.
thing?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So they have two things. They go for three things. They go for propolis, which is like tree sap, and that helps to cover all the holes in the hive. They go out for pollen, which they have pollen sacs on their legs that they put in, and they bring that back to the hive. And then they go out for nectar, which they have a nectar sac, and they bring that back to the hive. So those are the three things they bring back to the hive on a regular basis.
I just want to let me take a second here just to acknowledge those who have stepped in since the top of the hour. This guy looks familiar, that's because he was kind of here Friday as this is Thad J. Smith. And he took us on our very first Bathrobe Moment field trip Friday out to the beehives, and we watched what was happening in real time. But, we didn't have internet, so it was kind of difficult, but we could see great. So we are now finishing. I didn't know if you could see. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we could see everything. And this is such a great week on Bathrobe Moments. Here we are today with the Master of Bees and working with Inner City Kids, Thad J. Smith. Tomorrow we have Nico Perfecano from I think, where is he? I think he's in Canada, and he's a global entrepreneur and coach. This kid, though, is different than any you've ever seen. And then Wednesday we have Christopher Kaysen, who is autistic with Asperger's, but we're going to have an art auction here on the show Wednesday morning. And then we have R.K. Mullins on Thursday, who is a over-the-road truck driver who has written a book that is tearing up all of the airwaves, a book on serial killers and truckers. Yes, that's
A serial killer and a trucker, that sounds like they were made for each other.
It's actually the number one. The trucking industry is the number one industry that hides serial killers because they're always on the move. Right. So most of them work within there. So that's going to be an interesting day on Thursday. I gotta watch that show. Yes, and then a brand new cover model for Heart of Hollywood Motion Pictures. Bye, honey. Have a great day. Demisha Merchant's going to round out the week on Friday. So such a plethora of people
very diverse
this
week,
week.
brother.
It's a very diverse week.
Very diverse.
So you guys mark your calendars. I know everybody going to be here for the serial killer. Oh, morbid people. Me too.
Oh, no, you know what? My girlfriend loves death. We watch death shows all the time. So yeah,
I was scared to talk to him on the pre-interview because I was like, I should maybe go get a burner phone to call him. It's something I can throw in the trash when I'm done. I don't want to. No.
Not coming to my house.
I love you. Bye, honey. So let's talk about. You have something coming up. Well, first of all, I'm gonna give you a little test. Right. Let's do this test, and then hi, Julius Mercer. I see you just popped in, trying to sneak in the back door. I saw you. Shelley Dale, Aaron Hymas, Cedric Riley, Brandy Drake, and the rest. Oh, D. Hi, D-Ball. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us here today on Bathrobe Moments. As I said, my guest is Thad J. Smith of the Westside B-Boys. And when we come back from break, I'm going to give him a little test to see how his identification of different types of bees is.
Right.
And then we're going to talk about something new that Thad is going to try to put together, something in that they're calling the boys, the bees, and the badge, where these kids get up close and personal, have that conversation that needs to be had with people in law enforcement. Love it. Stay put. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Now I'm following the broadcast on my phone, and I see it looks like something's going on over there. It says, I don't know what that is. I don't know. I'm wondering if it's just here. Anyway, we're going to keep going because it will pick back up. Those of you, let me get back to it. You know me, I cannot multitask worth a poop. Okay, there we go. Oh, it looks like it left and it's come back. What was that, you guys? I see, it's weird because I see my logo on the screen. Anyway, well, I can't do anything about it. Okay, so here we are. Hopefully things will fix themselves. Now wait a minute. I act like it doesn't bother me, but it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like me. Once I get on something, I can't let it go until I get it done.
Yeah, it's got my logo there, but I don't see anything. I'm going to take us out real quick.
Okay.
I don't think it's me. I think it's something going on with the network. So, interestingly enough, bear with me. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Do you think, Loren? Do you think?
One. Huh. I don't know. It was like when I went to commercial, it just had trouble loading something, but I don't think that's me. So, okay. Usually in a situation like this, it'll just pick back up on its own. You know what, Thad? I'm going to end this broadcast and come back real quick.
Yeah, sure.
So use your link